Hello everyone. So I wanted to talk about in this video breathing and breathing from the Body Talk perspective. I made a video about the sphenoid basilar junction in the skull, or this little groove in the skull that's called the sella turcica, where the pituitary sits and gets massaged by the breathing and the rocking of the skull. And I wanted to read from the first Body Talk book. I think it came out in like late 80s. Look at this cover. This is old school. And most of this information some of it is in the newer Body Talk book. But I just wanted to sit in the old rocking chair and read y'all a story. So in yoga we say that if a person has perfect breath, they will have perfect health. Seems pretty good. The Body Talk system agrees with this statement, and we utilize the immense importance of the full breath cycle in our sessions, and more importantly, to ensure that the treatments last. So for those of you who've had sessions in person, you know that like I pay attention to the breathing. Everybody, even if it's not in person, everyone else who's had remote sessions, like that's one of the benefits of seeing the body and how well you're breathing. You've heard me say, I invite you to enjoy a deep breath into the abdomen, then the lungs, and going past just kind of breathing like, but going into this the breath cycle can be divided into many functions. Most of these are well known in human physiology. These don't need to be covered here, it says in this whole book. We're more interested in talking about the little known yet vitally important functions of the breath cycle. Well, the breath cycle is one of our main energy pumps. Energy accumulates in the lungs from the air we breathe, and the food energy sent up from the lungs from the digestive system, a principle in Chinese medicine. This energy is then dumped through the meridian system, through the lung meridian, which starts in the lung. The more powerful our breath cycle, the more powerful the flow of energy through the meridians, our vital body, which nourishes our physical body. The whole body rocks with our breath cycle, and as we breathe in and out, the whole body moves in synchronicity with that movement. The muscles expand and contract, pump the blood returning to the heart, and also pump the lymphatic system, our body's sewage system, and cleaning it out of the body. And also blood, just the circulatory system in general would be cool to learn about more. What oils. So our cranial bone, it makes very small movements that change the pressure inside the cranial vault and cause the cerebral spinal fluid to circulate, and this keeps the nervous system bathed in fluids vital to its function. And in the SB video I show that animation where when we're breathing, all those different sutures of the skull are kind of expanding and contracting. So each vertebrae of the spine rocks in synchronicity with the breathing cycle to maintain healthy functioning and integrity of the spine in the spinal cord. The skin breathes air in and out as the lungs breathe. You mean to tell me all these pores with little noses all over my body? More than 50% of the air we take into the body is through the skin and not the lungs? Sounds like some mutant alien stuff to me. Hogwash. The breath cycle influences the heartbeat. The yogis have long demonstrated that by controlling their breath, they can control the beating of their heart. This is very important in Body Talk because we use this relationship to bring about lasting changes in the session by imprinting the changes we make into the heart system when we're tapping. The brain uses the breath cycle to scan the body. Another yoga principle that has immense relevance to Body Talk is each time we breathe in and out, the brain scans all of the frequencies of the body. As we breathe out, the scanning goes down the frequencies from the highest to lowest. And as we breathe in, the reverse happens. We know from science that our body is ultimately just a bundle of energy made up of different frequencies. I mean, the slower the frequencies, the denser the parts. Bones, for example, represent the slower frequencies of the body, and blood, the higher frequency. Meridian energy is still even higher. The emotions and thoughts represent some of the highest found in the body-mind complex. Each of these frequencies are contained within systems of energy that hold the body-mind together. There are systems within systems within systems within systems. Each of these has a dynamic relationship with all other systems within the body-mind outside as well extending into our environment. So whenever one of these systems starts to dysfunction, disharmony occurs. So during each breath cycle, the brain scans these systems to establish if any are malfunctioning, and how well it can do this depends upon how functional the breath cycle is. If our breathing cycle is restricted, our brain and heart energy will not be able to correctly locate the state of our health and well-being, and it will continue to make mistakes. When the brain doesn't know what's wrong, it can't fix it. Examples: breathing out, the act in the symbolic action of letting go. Low frequency diseases are usually chronic bone or muscle diseases such as arthritis, or chronic muscular degenerative diseases. In clinical observations, patients in chronic pain with arthritis, inflammation basically, the immune system attacking itself, is that those people rarely ever fully breathe out. If they try to, they suddenly experience the little needles of pain in their knees, wrists, joints. They breathe shallowly to stop themselves from getting in touch with that discomfort of a present emotion or a past event that hadn't been fully emotionally synthesized and grieved, celebrated, learned from. So psychologically, arthritis sufferers tend to be people who have spent their lives driving themselves or remaining fixed in rigid belief systems about life and how it should or should not be lived. A rigid mind leads to a rigid body. Driven people will rarely allow themselves to fully let go. That pathological willpower to force something to happen, or the mind just constantly, something should happen, I should be, doing more, self-sabotage, shadow dance. The act of breathing all the way out is a characteristic of being able to fully let go of life. If you spend your life living in stress, the body stops breathing out fully and the brain stops scanning those lower frequencies. This means that if we are developing something like arthritis, for whatever the cause, the brain will not fully recognize the problem. Instead, it will allow the degenerative process to continue without significant intervention. Breathing in, getting in touch with life. When we breathe in, we are entering the higher frequencies of thought and emotion. People who don't breathe in fully do not allow full interaction with their emotional and mental processes. An emotionally disturbed person will not breathe all the way in because they inwardly sense that it will cause them to suddenly get in touch with those deep old feelings that need some acknowledgement and TLC and cup of tea and chocolate or whatever you want to give it. This will eventually lead to the brain not recognizing the emotional or mental state and result in disease processes establishing again themselves without intervention and correction by the brain's healing processes. So when we're doing sessions in Body Talk, we always encourage you to enjoy a deep breath at your own pace. Into the abdomen, then the lungs. Breathe in and breathe out to ensure that the brain is getting fully in touch with all the priorities that the body-mind needs to assimilate, needs to process. And so when we've done sessions, and I'm communicating, enjoy a deep breath from the abdomen, the lungs, breathe in, breathe out, while I'm doing the implementation process of tapping, sending a new wave, collapsing a new formula into the body, and I'll notice it too, that if I'll share information perhaps, then people stop breathing. They'll be like breathing, then I'll share something, like the body mentioned something, and then they're like, and it's like the mind comes in and it's like, where's this from? Da, 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 da. And that's where I kind of can notice when to share something and when not to share something. And I mean, even at the end of the sessions, you're getting all the details in a document or an audio file. So that's why some people enjoy the details as they're coming up in the session. And then can you see the point of view too, that it's supportive to not talk about it in certain times too, because then you can just be more focused on your breath, which then helps the body locate and metabolize and synthesize all the information that much more effectively. So I hope you enjoyed this old fireside chat talking about the old body talk. Enjoy your night. Peace!